In this lesson, we'll review a question from a long nonfiction reading passage. We're on page 551, question 9. The passage is on page 550, and we know it is nonfiction. So even though it's adapted from her memoirs, which she wrote in 1998, it recalls her childhood in the 1960s. We know it's first-person narrative, but it's still nonfiction. It has to state it's from a novel or short story to be fiction. And why do we make the difference? Nonfiction will always have the main theme in the first paragraph. So it recounts how she was growing up in Hyde Park, that's south of the city of Chicago and near the campus of University of Chicago, and how she recalls these trips that she would make to the Blackstone Library. It had the library, it was a piece of perfection. I had around me at one time all the people I love best, my mother, my brothers, my sister, all the things I love best, quiet, space, and books. So we know she takes these trips to the library, and she's recalling. We have to gauge the tone of the statement in lines 17 to 18. Now, even though this is a reading passage question, it is heavily steeped in vocab. We know the sentence completions are pure vocab, but here, this is a level 4. Remember, there's not a progressive level of difficulty, and it is level 4. It's a moderate to difficult problem because of vocab. We have to gauge the tone of the statement. So a lot of times you'll have to gauge the tone or of the statement or the tone of the narrator. So let's take a look. So this is when she went to Blackstone Library, not far from Lake Michigan. So here I'm reading line 17 now. Well, one line before it. You could easily miss the building if you didn't know what you were looking for, but once you were inside, you could never mistake it for anything else. And I'm going to read a little bit further for context. We passed through 2 sets of heavy brass doors to the lobby of the library, a great domed entrance with a ceiling adorned with what I used to imagine were angels of books. They were gilded figures armed with harps and with scrolls and other instruments of learning. So let's try to predict what she means. She's saying it's hard. It's sort of hard to see the library from the outside, but once you were inside, you could never mistake it for anything else. What is the tone? She's saying, she's making sort of a definitive statement. You could never mistake it for anything else. Is she being arrogant here? She is not being arrogant. Arrogant is sort of like a hubris word, or haughty, supercilious. We've had lots of these words here, but she's not sort of, this is not related to her ego. She's just making a declaration. Foreboding. This is a tough word, but it's definitely not foreboding. That's sort of some type of fearful apprehension that something ominous is about to happen, trepidation, fear. This is not fear. She's making a statement. We can also eliminate sarcasm because there's no irony here. She's not being sardonic or facetious. That's out. And then this is a tough word. Diffidence means shy or modest or meek. The answer clearly is conviction. She is making a definitive statement. You could never mistake it for anything else. This is a firm belief. Again, vocab, you really have to focus on these words, and knowing them obviously makes it such a huge advantage. All right, the answer here is C. See you next time. Thanks for watching.